Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. The best top-performing commodity of 2020. Hint, and it's not gold, silver, or gold, silver, or platinum. And it's not platinum. Let's explore. Let's explore. When we think of commodities, and especially in relation to precious metals, well, it becomes a much more even playing field. There's a lot of different performing assets based off of demand and how the price moves in that regard. And there's a lot of factors that affect the price of precious metals, but there are elements to it that do react in terms of them being commodities. And gold, silver, and platinum are, in fact, commodities, as well as having some monetary properties, especially for gold and much less so for platinum. Silver is in the middle, with way more than half, about 60% of it, being utilized in functions such as industrial use, biomedical, technology, and the like, all aspects of the attributes of a commodity. But there is other commodities that are out there that perform very, very well. And some of them would be oil, which has performed horribly over the past year, and for understandable reasons. Oil has lost in terms of its three ways of measuring it, such as WTI crude oil, Brent crude, and heating oil. All of them lost over 20% over the past year. And essentially what's happening is because people are traveling less and using less energy in terms of travel, and because of the economic downturn that we saw over the past year due to the coronavirus pandemic, this is why you have seen these oil go down in terms of its price. In fact, you may remember, talked about on this channel, there was a time when oil was trading for about negative $38, which in reality, when you think about it, it's ridiculous. But, essentially that's paying for storage of the oil. But obviously it has an intrinsic value, at least at zero or above. Well, we know it has intrinsic value above that, but it just goes to show you how the markets work and how they trade. You remember when silver was under $12 an ounce on the paper markets, in other words, ETFs, and how it's traded. But good luck finding any silver anywhere under $20 at that time. It was very difficult. It could be done if you looked and searched far and wide, but very, very much a difficult thing to do. In fact, one of the sources that I've been able to purchase just a little bit of constitutional silver at the time. Had I had that source then, I would have really stocked up based off of what the markets say gold and silver should be at. There's times where these prices move. And I think with that aspect, we have to look at the precious metals beyond their stated price movement, In other words, sometimes we see these metals priced as commodities, especially for silver. Now, some people will translate that into manipulation by the big banks, but But it happens to some extent as commodities, at least in what I refer to as a micro manipulation. In other words, manipulation from within an organization for profit or for gain. Usually, it's personal gain between one or a group of people. But I don't believe in macro manipulation in terms of, that there's a cabal, the banking system, to bring the prices of silver or gold down. Yea, though, we do understand that there is, as such, in terms of our government and Federal Reserve, which in a sense is tied to the banks, in terms of how the dollar is manipulated. And so that is something to keep in mind, too, when we take into account price movements. But as commodities, well, over the past year, we've seen a great increase in commodity prices that could be due to inflation or what have you. But where do things fall in terms of the price of these commodities? Well, we talked about oil, but from oil comes gasoline. And gasoline was down almost 20%. It was down negative 17%. But there's other commodities that have performed above and done better over the past year. And actually the worst of those is platinum, believe it or not. Platinum has done well, a 10% increase year on year, but it started out pretty high. It started out at about $1,000 an ounce, and it is ending above that. So it is done well in that regard, platinum. And so up about 10%. Next thing we have is sugar. Sugar was up 15%. I don't have any sugar here to show you, but hey, some people think I'm a sweet guy, so I'll let my sweetness just exude across the screen into your viewing point. All right, there we go. And then next would be gold. That's right, gold has done very well. It's up 24%, dramatic increase. And in fact, that's percent from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. But as we know, it has reached the highest nominal price ever over the course of the summer. It has since pulled back a bit from that. But gold has done very, very well. It is a beautiful metal, and as a commodity, we've seen it perform. We also understand that it is also money, and it has been recognized as a Tier 1 asset by the Bank of International Settlements. So it has done well. I'll take that any day. And it doesn't surprise me, with that being said, why gold is not doesn't perform better than that, because it's not meant to. In my view, it's not meant to perform with a great jump or a great fall from year to year in terms of its commodity, or as a commodity, or as money even too. It's supposed to be stable. And so that is something to keep in mind. Just edging above silver, above gold, is copper, believe it or not. Copper indeed has done well, and here's a little example of some copper here for you as a prospector. And this is copper has done well, and it has done just slightly better than gold from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Copper has done very well. I don't have Palladium here with me, but Palladium has really jumped up. It has actually scaled back a bit, but it hit a record high this year. And it is down somewhat, but it is essentially up 28%. Next in line, believe it or not, would be soybeans. Soybeans have increased substantially more, to 37%. That's right, 37% for soybeans, and it is a remarkable jump upwards. And next in line, we have the lovely metal silver here. Silver, and its jump very well could be because as a commodity, but also as following gold and trying to catch up to gold, it has done well. 47% increase, which is equivalent to its atomic number, amazingly enough. But it has done very, very well, 47%, which of the list that I have here, it is the second best performing asset or commodity out there. And so that is pretty stunning and amazing indeed to see silver has done so well. And of course, that's from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. It is up 47%, but we've seen it more than double from March, and of course scale back a bit. But, well, no, it's still double from what it was in March, but again, that was on paper. And so if you take some of these and move the sliding scale around, you will get better or worse numbers depending on which part of the year, from the low from any given year to the high from any given year. But these are year-to-date numbers, and that leaves us to the final best producing commodity ever, and for the year, and that's a 67% increase, beating silver out by 20%. And you're looking at it. That's right. Lumber. Lumber, that's right. Wouldn't you know it? Lumber would make the top of the list. And why is that? Why is lumber edged out beyond these other commodities? So much so, well, because lumber is in great demand right now for construction. And there's been a lot of residential home construction this past year. There's been a great demand for lumber out there. And so if you would have put your money in lumber from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, you would have done very, very well for sure. And it just goes to show you that just plain old wood, something that is can be it's a commodity that can be recycled for sure, made again and again. You grow more trees, you can make more lumber, more wood. That's right. Wouldn't you know it? Nice to see. Lumber, lumber, lumber. All right. So very good. That is the top performing commodity of 2020, lumber. And why is a precious metal channel talking about lumber? Well, because it gives us some insight as to how the commodity markets work. And I also think that it helps us to understand precious metals a little bit more too, I believe. It gives us a better insight as to how these metals can perform as commodities as well as monetary metals. Yes, indeed. And so that's what it's about. It's about an understanding there of how the markets work, and precious metals for sure fall in a category of not only metals that serve a purpose to preserve our wealth as an asset class, but also as commodities. And understanding that and can give us a better insight and a better view, I believe, of where we're going and where we're heading in the next year here, 2021. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. The number one commodity of 2020, lumber. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you found this video useful, boy, I would appreciate if you gave me a little thumb up. A thumb up on the video, not a thumb up somewhere else, if you know what I'm saying. And I also want to encourage you to please rate, and that is essentially doing that, thumbing up. Share this video on other social media platforms. Comment and subscribe. A multitude of gratitude to you all.